what your choices have been, and what karmic timelines and contracts you have journeyed. The light is calling for the reunification of all aspects of life in this realm now. It is calling for the cleansing of all polarities. It is calling for the rising of all sacred heart centers now. All are being summoned home to the greater light now.
Hi, and welcome everyone to Whole Soul Mastery and Whole Soul School and Foundation's joint podcast today. My name is Marie Mohler, and I'm an author, intuitive, and a messenger of the heroic soul's journey that we all engage and embrace to live the whole soul mastery and essentially the divinity of who we truly are. I am back again today with the amazing teacher, speaker, minister, and divine inspirer, Dr. Terry Cole-Whittaker, who is the author of 6 best-selling books: What You Think of Me Is None of My Business, New York Times bestseller, How to Have More in a Have-Not World, The Inner Path, Love and Power in a World Without Limits, Dare to Be Great, and Live Your Bliss. And this amazing soul has touched millions of people's lives through her books, through her messages, through her ministry. And now she's doing it here with us in this podcast today. So thank you, Dr. Terry, for joining me.
Oh, thank you for asking me, Marie, to have this wonderful opportunity with you and those beautiful souls and people that you work for and serve and teach and offer all your good findings.
Right. And I know when we come together like this and we join our energy and we stream through like the inspiration, we're aware of like our topic today, because we're going to talk about step 2 in the 8 steps to spiritual and earthly riches. But what's important, I think, also for our listeners to know is we show up and we are our authentic selves, right? Like all that we're going to share today is inside us, and it's inside our listeners too.
Yes.
So here I want to introduce, because in our last podcast, we talked about step number 1. And step number 1 was all about the ask. The ask is the first step.
Gotta ask.
You got to ask.
The reason being is because we chose free will, which was a big mistake. And only because that gives anybody and everything to decide they're going to do whatever they want to do, but they don't have an idea or know the karmic laws and what's going to influence them, and what their words do, what their intention does, and so because they don't have a foundation on basically who they are, how this world works, how to overcome their problems, and have a wonderful life. I know. I remember when I first realized, it was many years ago, that I'm going to have to make myself happy, because I wanted to be happy, and I was looking everywhere else, and I finally got, well, I'm eternal, and I'm not going to die, so I better get busy. Find out how to be happy, and loving, and wonderful, and prosperous, and everything, and it's all there. But people have to work for it. They have to ask for it. A lot of people don't ask because they don't know it's possible. They've been so programmed, they have no idea of who they are. And they've been so programmed to not even be open or look outside whatever is the box that they're living in. And you can't think out of the box, because thinking makes reality boxes. So you have to be transcendental, in a sense of observing the system, but don't get caught up in it. Use it. Like, don't let money use you, because we have to use the money system. Use the money to do what you want to do, as an investment in your life, your consciousness, your work, your career, and everything. All is possible. You just got to, and it's usually, some people think you can just get it in reading. Reading is great, but you need a teacher. Because I look at the teachers I've had, were living examples of what they were teaching. And when you're with them, you get all the goodies that you don't get anywhere else, because they don't share it with anybody. Like you and I, we don't share everything we know with everybody out there. You can't.
Right.
You cannot. only those who are closest to you, who actually want to learn and want to support what you're doing and want to do, just like both your work and my work is excellent for also therapists and psychologists and people who work with people and try and help people. It's wonderful for I call them spiritual entrepreneurs. We are spiritual entrepreneurs. This is what we need to be doing. And this new project I'm working on is basically we have to take over the world, ours first. You have to do your own world. I'm not going to do your world. I'm not going to do Marie's world. I'm going to give Marie everything I can because I love her, and it's just like she gives you, everybody who's listening, everything she can. And you reserve that for those, the real knowledge, for those who are really serious. You see, they really want it. So just like Marie and I, we, both of us, it's like why when we come together, it's because we have such a good time because we don't have to limit ourselves when we share. You see,
that's right.
We don't have to watch. Yes, you're going to be offended, not offended. We're not playing in those realms. We don't do politics. We don't do that. My God's better than your God. Play all these things. Is that we want the nuggets. We want the gems. We want the keys, the pearls of wisdom, the goodies that are here because it's our life to live as we choose. Yes.
Right. It's what you said about you are the one that makes you happy. To me, in the language of the heroic soul's journey, are those seeking a greater wholeness in their lives, right? And self-discovery. But no one's going to self-discover you for you, right?
And they can't do it. Doesn't matter how much money you have or how little. That's the key, because people put it all on the money because money is God, because it's on the money. In God we trust. So what we have in a materialistic world is that it's money will give them everything they want, whether God wants them to have it or not, the divine, because they've been taught through materialism that basically science is God or God is science. Now we're working, who we are is way beyond this manifestation and expression, this virtual reality. But it's all like you said in the beginning, it's within us. All of and it's your own crown on your head. That's your consciousness that we've been giving to other people by saying they know and we don't, or they have it and we don't. All of that causes envy, which is, I call the disease of humankind. Envying everybody. They have it, I don't. That's a sign of a psychopath. What happens if people don't control the mind? They'll become a psychopath. It's just the way it goes, because they'll believe limitation. They'll believe in lack. They'll believe in fear. They'll believe in competition. They'll believe in scarcity. And so as we get on to, we talk about the second step, appreciation. Appreciation completely goes against the business plan, because the business plan is you don't have enough, you need more.
Right.
It's that more thing. Yes, and my second book that was a New York Times bestseller, and I basically wrote that for me too. If I forgot who I was, I could go find my book and read it, and it helped me remember.
I love that.
But it was like, how to have more and have not world, and it was basically envy is the lack of awareness of your connection with Source. That there's an abundance for everyone. There's an abundance of love, joy, happiness, all of this. And what you're really searching, and you can have it right now where you are. Doesn't matter what's going on, who's in your life, what happened. You can make a choice to say, wait a minute. To really look, what do I really want? If I really want to be happy, I can be. It doesn't matter if nobody in my family likes me, if nobody else supports me. Because like in my work, and I'm sure it is with yours too, Marie, is that our spiritual life is number one. That's first.
Number one. Yes.
It has to be. Yes. And if it doesn't,
and you learn.
Yes, you learn.
You learn from yourself. When it's not number one, life teaches you. Right.
Yes, and real good. Like it was almost a month ago, last time we spoke. Okay, I was coming out of this building,
yes,
where I live, there's a lot of snow and ice and stuff. So it wasn't snow and ice, but there was like a little ledge. And as I was leaving, I'm really careful about, look where I'm going, about snow and ice. But I use my ski poles a lot to take walks. So because it's icy where I live in the middle of nowhere, and there's snow everywhere. But I always wanted that. I said that'd be fun to do that. You okay? Because I'm an adventurer. But anyway, so I tripped, and I fell, and my knees touched, but then on cement. But it was my left hand, which is my feminine side, that had for so long, I'd had a whiplash back when I was like maybe 20, fallen off the T-bar skiing. And then other things happened, but that's my feminine side. And on my male side, the right, my legs, I was shot in my legs when I was 4 years old, playing cowboys with real guns. Oh my God, broken skiing. Oh my God, a motorcycle accident. Motorcycle fell on my leg, my right side, but my feminine, my intuition, my creative, my mother. See, what's missing in the world is motherly love. Motherly love is missing, and so is fatherly love. What we're getting is usury. We're getting, oh, I have to be happy. I have to do this. It's blah, 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 blah. They don't realize love it comes from your heart, because that's where we live. It's a heater. Yeah, appreciation, because asking obviously is first, but the problem is we're all geared for more clothes, more furniture, more stuff. And if people haven't ever moved, which I have moved quite a few times, because I think obviously I must be a gypsy because I like that. But they haven't gotten used to giving away stuff. And and showing appreciation or being grateful. And there's some people who will never show appreciation. That means you never want to serve a miser, or basically a passive aggressive person, or obviously a psychopath, or even a sociopath too much. And because they find that they've had a lot of trauma in their lives. It's not what we're angry with them, but we have to recognize why people do the things they do, and how we ourselves can protect ourselves from people who, what would you say, are controlled by fear and envy, competition, scarcity, their programs, because all of us do at some point. But there's that time where you come to that, shall we say it called talk to Jesus time, or whoever is your spiritual Lord and teacher or whatever it may be, to really get serious about what's going on here, because you cannot die, and you have to die before you die in this world. That means let go of the attachments that you have instead of on everything outside. And that's why my main thing about the problems with people when they're saying that the universe did this and that, when the universe, we produce. So why would we let our effects then become our God? I don't understand that. When people say the universe, because the universe, then you're saying, has a conscious mind and a soul, and it's going to direct your life. And where do you see it? There's a bunch of lights in the sky, and you're going to that's going to guide my life. I don't think so. I don't want that. Because when you know who you are, you see. So what happens is, as a business plan, I used to think I had to keep up the economy. I really did. I don't. I can't.
Right.
And
it's so liberating to let go of the work, because when we allow ourselves to be what we are, we naturally have a much better time.
You're happy because we're happy. We're serving. We're service oriented. But here's the problem. The main game everybody is addicted to here is called victim, perpetrator, savior. And I've been looking at, because in writing these courses and working for others, I use them myself. And I'm only really sharing what I find is valuable that I've used, and people can take it or leave it. But I'm a researcher, just as you are, Marie, and a lot of people out there. And you get really excited and enthused. You want to share what you have and what you know, and you want to help people. But then again, we tend to want to solve their problems. Just like if we, and I start to look at what our character is. What are we doing? What did we build? How is our consciousness stopping us, our mindsets, and opposing us and causing trouble? What's going on? So you've got to ask these questions. And that first, when you ask for what you want, you have to know that you can also ask for the divine to tell you, to even ask for help. Remember, and I shared that last time, how the $150,000. Well, I asked, and I got, but God didn't say, or the divine, whoever you want to call, the Lord, but it's not the universe. it's a being. I don't know. You're not a robot, people. Please. No, you are a living divine being. You are a God particle. And to know this, it's that sense of asking always for help, for guidance. I remember I had this friend of mine. She went into the ladies, this is many years ago, ladies' bathroom, and this is before they were mixed and all that stuff. But all of a sudden the door opened and it was a guy. She could see his shoes and he was like, and motion, and she just said, "Get the hell out of here!" And the guy terrified the guy, and he ran out because she immediately thought, "This is not my reality. I'm here alone, and this guy with his energies come in here. I refuse this." Well, that happened when I levitated, because I had fallen from a Mayan temple, a goddess Mayan temple in the Yucatan, outside of, it wasn't Chichen, but it was another one in that Cancun area. And I was at the top, and I had picked up a little stone, and then I had this little attitude because there were some people there that thought they were all that, and I was like, yeah. So I started to almost skip. If you've ever seen these temples, the people must have been really little because the steps are very short and very steep. I think at Chichen they don't even let people go up to the temple anymore because too many people died just falling, just the same as like in the Ganges River in Varanasi. There's three things that capture people there. There's bulls that are running free, and there's the steps that go into the Ganges that are so steep. Many people just roll down and fall into the river and float on by. And then I guess the prostitutes that are there. So these are the three. If you can survive those dangers, it's a great place of learning. But anyway, I know. So it's this thing. I don't know how I got onto that, but anyway.
You fell. You said you fell.
Yeah, I fell. Oh yes, right. I fell. So as I'm falling, I was going down head first. I said no, and I pushed my body up like as high as I could. I looked up. Well, what it did, somehow I clicked into suspended animation, and so I had it was clicking, going tick, 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 and I was moving my entire body because it was all and up in the air until I could bring my whole body around, and my the male foot went on just a step below, but it really banged up my knee again. Okay, but it saved me because I would have been finished at that time. But see, I said no. People don't realize
not your reality.
Yes, it's not my reality. Not that you can't know what's going on. That's the people say, they put their head in and say, "Oh, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to see," because they're listening to some yo-yo tell them how to live their life rather than doing their research. See, studying with people like us, and we give our research, we help people. We're not trying to keep them, like I was talking to this one person I was working with, and she was talking about her therapist, like for years and years. I said, well, obviously they're doing a poor job. You're still going, you can solve it in a few times. You probably only
Isn't it amazing? It's amazing the complexity that the illusionary world has created, that's normal, that people can expect, and it takes a long time to heal.
A long time. Yes. Because they even did a thing. I read a study back in the 80s. They had asked these medical people, doctors and nurses and professionals, would they be willing for their clients and patients to be well and not call on them again? And they said, absolutely not. No, No, that's our money supply. No way.
Right. Right.
And so, yes. And so when we look at that and we see how money, in a sense, has become God, and then you also have to have it to play the game. Okay, so there's a lot of things when we start taking over our world. You take over also your money or anything else, and you use it consciously to invest in you, whether it's your business, your career, your relationship, your studies, and because that's how you're going to get it. That's how you're going to get it. So this appreciation then, instead of, it's like we're like running to get new stuff all the time. Every time I change my life, I give everything away. One time when I had this retreat center up in Washington on the west side, and then I was all packed and ready, and I was moving to Malibu because I thought, well, I got to get back into work again because I was out in the woods. Now I'm going to go back and do some work. So I was moving to Malibu, and I was leaving. This whole flock of wild turkeys crossed in front of the road. Well, you know, if you look at what's the turkey in the Native American, it's the giveaway. And I had given away everything again.
Wow.
Because I'm a builder. And see, once you start to notice what your nature is, see, a lot of people, we're always judging ourselves. Well, you do this, you don't do it right. How come you do this? How come? Wait a minute. That's first of all, it's absolutely useless to be worried about you're going to save other people. You can't save anybody. Save yourself. Because when you're whole, that means you know who you are and who you are. You take ownership of your life. I don't like the word responsibility because it means you have the ability to respond. I don't have to respond if I don't want to. That's my choice, you see. You can say, well, what's your answer? Well, there's always an answer, and you're always communicating. You can't help it. It's just the way it is. So then you start
You're talking about sovereignty. I mean, you're talking about we're sovereign beings.
Yes. But we are dependent on source. You're not completely independent. And we're also dependent on each other, but not completely independent because we work best when we are in collaboration, you see, like you're doing here. It's like anybody listening now, agree, if there's anything we say and do here, you like, take it, say that's for me. See how you get rid of envy. Envy's going to show you what you really want oftentimes, because why would you be envious of them if you didn't want it? But what envy usually means is I want what you've got, I want you gone, and I want you dead. What we do in this state that we've been programmed, we've got advertising constantly. We've got everything more, better grades. You want to be more, better, different. But we're living in a hypnotic trance where we're, through repetition, programmed constantly to buy. It says like, goodbye, buy now, I don't buy that, wave, bye-bye. We're the energy source that I want to tell you that not just produces this world, but what you do is I want to say, because, you know, spelling is spell casting. So we're the ones who actually produce the illusion, produce the spell.
Right, we're the projector. Yes.
Exactly. And the consciousness that does it, because we are, see, here's the basic hypnotic trance. You're not good enough. That's almost everybody I've ever counseled with, and myself, is always they're not good enough. And it causes us to have no confidence. And I was working with a real wonderful person yesterday. He's just fabulous. He's just brilliant and has done so much work and had so many illnesses that he's overcome. He's done these things and working on this stuff. And he was ready to be a teacher, and he signed up people for the class and then quit because he doesn't have any confidence. And so I was working with him. I said, well, let's look at this. What are you getting out of not having any confidence? Because once we don't own it, we say, I don't have any confidence, and it was my mother's problem because blah, blah, blah. Well, as I started looking at also what are the roles that I picked up or invented for myself that came from my mother and father. Because I want what my fruit is to be. My exploration is the divine experiment. I want to be me without bindings. I want to know and be who I am purely, without hypnotic trance, without all of these layers of programs and beliefs and concepts and teachings, because I want to be the pure self, because I'm a pleasure seeker, and that's where the goodies are. That's where the goodies are. They're not in your mind, but you have to train your mind so it's not the greatest terrorist weapon ever invented. Do not believe your thoughts. Just like we mentioned before, the problem with humanity, people are saying their affirmations all the time, but they don't believe them. Not at all. And if you say, well, this is how you do it to believe it, well, I don't have time to do that, but I've got 3 hours to worry. I have 2 hours of criticizing anybody and everybody I can. I've been watching the news, everything and all that. And I'm terrorized, and this is going to happen. Because there's all predictive programming. You're it. You're doing it.
Right. But it's such a different lens. It's such a different lens when you turn that inside out and right side up. Right?
Yeah.
And
where else are you going to go anyway? Were you going to run somewhere? You can't run and hide anywhere. No, but you don't have to have anybody else's reality. And I don't care who that it is, because you agreed to it. You thought, and there's so much programming that goes on for you to keep looking outside yourself. The universe is going to do it. The next money thing everybody's going to have money, and they'll be all great. It's just going to fall out of the sky. Oh, cool. But it won't be worth anything at that time. They'll give you all you want, baby. I know. Because I never asked for money, because it isn't about the money. It's what are you going to get with it. You want a home. You want protection. You want to feel good. You want to be healthy.
It's all the stuff on the inside you're right. Like, our world calls us and distracts us with all these invitations to look outside of ourselves for our happiness. And this is where the appreciation that we're talking about comes in here, because appreciation is an experience, right? It's something, it's an inner experience that is one of those things that's hard.
It's exhilarating. It's exhilarating. Isn't it?
Right. You actually say in this post that you shared, you said something wonderful happens when we develop and maintain and express the consciousness of appreciation for what we have, which is the second step. And you say, remember, asking for what you want. The first step works like the magic words, open sesame, requesting entry into the sacred teachings. But you also talk about, before focusing on attaining your heart's desires in the future, be happy, grateful, and satisfied with what you have and where you are right now.
Do you know why people are afraid of that? They're afraid of that because they won't get any more. If I'm happy with what I got, I won't get any more. Because as a kid, if you were happy, you didn't get any more. But if you screamed bloody murder, you did.
It's interesting, the conditioning. Instead of just being satiated and being satisfied and feeling good and comfortable, we do up. But this, I like what you said. You said, take care of what you have now and plant your seeds for your garden of tomorrow.
Do you know who actually said that? Robert Louis Stevenson. I was sitting in an airport. I wasn't in Jaipur, India, but I think it's one of those places that I visited in India, because I lived there for 4 years. I love it. But anyway, Robert Louis Stevenson, and it was on the wall of the airport in, I think it was Gujarat. On the airport, it said, instead of worrying about your harvest of today, focus on the seeds you're planting for your harvest of tomorrow.
See, and that's like the soul that starts to understand, like go inside to understand themselves.
Like appreciate, like say you're eating something, and then so you like it and eat it, but after you eat it, you say, oh, I shouldn't have ate it. I hate it. I'm terrible. Now what do you think you did? Your body has 50 trillion. Yeah, your body. Well, if you're going to eat it, don't feel guilty. Decide before whether you're going to have it or not. And if you want to, have it every once in a while. But don't feel guilty or don't do it. Because you're going to now hate yourself. You're going to be depressed. I know. My mom, she was always on a diet, and I remember in high school, I was always going to lose weight, and I was decided I'm not going to eat lunch, and I'd take a hard-boiled egg. Well, I'm a teenager. By lunchtime, I am eating anything and everything I can find, and I'm so hungry, and because it wasn't natural. If
the deprivation doesn't work. Deprivation doesn't work. No, it works against it, but appreciation brings the more.
Yes, but you start appreciating. So if, say you're eating your hot fudge sundae, enjoy every bite, even though it's sugar. But I'm finding too, if I cook with, I soak my raisin seeds. Boy, is that good in. I'm making my pumpkin pie and stuff, and I'm using raisins. Really, really works well. Didn't get good in coffee. I've tried that because I'll experiment and get that. But appreciation is, how many people don't really appreciate their self? I don't have to love Terry. Remember this. We got to clear this up. Love is who you are. When you're trying to love yourself, it's like you're trying to get feelings from within you that won't come out because you have to have an object for your love. That's why some people, they love because if you take care of it, you're going to love it.
Right.
If you give something, that's why now when my work is on reciprocation. And because see what happens, if you're trying to save a victim, they're never going to give to you because they're not able to handle their own situation. And what I started looking at when I was looking at victim, perpetrator, savior, my nature has been to be a savior. Well, at one level, we all do want to help. But when we use it because we expect then they'll help me when I need it, that doesn't happen. The people, oftentimes, that's why people say, well, after all I did and everything I gave, but who'd you give to? They're never going to give to you because they don't give to anybody. So what are you doing? You got to find a pregnant cow that's going to have a baby, and you're going to get some good milk if you take good care of her. But if you're going to give that same, attention to a rock, I don't think you're going to get much. A rock's okay. I'm not putting it down, but you have to look at what you want. And I wanted to get, because what I did is I realized when I started looking over about my parents, what are these characters I've built myself with, or who I think I am. When I was little, I was like 18 months, and I was standing in the doorway, and I saw my mom in bed sucking her thumb. At that moment, I knew she couldn't take care of me. I said, my mom's a baby. Oh, my God. So I took on her pain. I took on her habits, and I also took on, in order to be Terry Cole-Whittaker, everything I wanted to do, I actually wanted to make my mother happy, my dad happy, and my great-grandmother happy. I wanted to make my dad happy that he could brag about me in the bar, because he loved to go to the bar, and I wanted him to go to the bar and be happy. And he could brag about me. That made me, because we love our parents. We love them so much.
Wow.
Oh, my God. And then, and what is so, this appreciation thing is even with the cat. Because we have a cat, Lakshmi. She was my daughter who passed away, and so this is my grand cat. So this is my grandchild. Anyway, so she was keeping us awake at night and everything, and so it was shut up, Lakshmi. Go quit it. Get over there. No, that doesn't work. Come here, sweet. Pick her up. Love her. Hug her. She didn't like that first because she was a rescue kitty in the back streets of West Hollywood, some alley, and. I know. So,
she's come a long way living with you.
She's come a long way. And I'll tell you, it was the greatest gift my daughter could give me. Her baby, which was a kitty. I know.
But that's what you're saying too. Is the sweetness is when you give some sweetness. It's exactly.
My sweetie and I, we've decided we're not snarky with each other. Michael and I aren't snarky with each other because why would we be snarky with someone? We're trained by sitcoms. But I got a fast tongue. Are you kidding? I could be snarky. I could be snarky with the best. I could fillet somebody with the best because you get hips flicking cool, You know, you're going with the flow. You watch the latest sitcom, and you got your talk show, and you got the this, and you got the jazz. And who are our gods? They're sports figures, not just athletes, but movie stars, royals. Look at, oh, these are the beautiful people. No, they're pathetic people. They need that. See, I needed that. And it's okay when you have it, but it's like, they're not going to be happy.
You grew through that experience, and there was something deeper that was calling to you, which is all these deeper teachings to unpack and live more of life, what it's really about.
And it's every moment. You don't have to wait for anybody to change, for the world to, when people say, I'm going to make the world a better place, that means you're programmed. There's nothing wrong with the world. Your world is always going to be the projection, like a 380-degree, what would you call, morpho-energetic field that is your projection of your specific reality. And it's like appreciation, like we call it appreciating thank you all the time, because everybody in relationship is basically a volunteer. But we all start making our deals because they're going to take care of me, or I'm going to rescue this person. I'm going to save them, or I'm going to be a victim. Because, see, it's working for the victim. They're not going to change. That's why they get stuff. And the thing, and when I was being a victim, because then I was blaming the people who didn't give me like I gave to them. Well, why? And I realized I was trying to help others instead of help myself first.
Right. This goes back to that simplicity. It's like,
because they feed me.
You
get down to the basics, because as a baby girl, who's going to feed me? Who's going to take care of me? And we start looking around, and kids hear the parents, and they have just and even in conception, in the Essene way, which to me that's who Yeshua was, and they were the remnants of the Vedic culture, because we have the same practices, you know, of doing fire ceremonies with ghee and the sunset, sunrise, sunset, and certain things. When you do your research, you can see where certain practices are similar at different places, and kind of track, and you see, not that you're going to say they're all the same, but you'll find some knowledge there. You'll get some knowledge. And what's everything about hair anyway? It's about you. See, right now they're trying to make everybody hive mentality, so they all think as one, which is it's bug mentality, it's insect mentality. We're both independent and a collective. So the only way you can ever help anyone is when you help yourself as the example of it, and you can contribute and give knowledge and help others, but they have to help themselves, because otherwise they don't. And who they're going to hate is you, because they're going to feel ineffectual around you because you did it for them. And with children, when you solve their problems, what was my mistake, I'll make it all nice for them. I'll give them everything, but I forgot to teach them to give.
Right.
And that they don't have, because that's the joy. It doesn't mean, I don't have to work. Well, that doesn't mean you don't give. That doesn't mean you don't contribute. But you have to look at what's your motive. So when you're in appreciation, every moment's beautiful. I just sit here and appreciate the day, the moment, the snow, the chipmunk that stole my hairpiece. And I'm thinking, this chipmunk took my hairpiece, and it's in his house. And I'm thinking, when the snow's gone, I'm going to find that sucker. I'm going to find my hairpiece. He took it. No, but he's fine.
You appreciate even the chipmunk, right? Exactly.
Oh,
after all that, you appreciate that little guy.
Because I like it. And I was wondering why he kept looking down at the ground, and he was under the car, and he's like, what's he looking under the ground? Well, when I looked, my hairpiece had fallen on the ground. He got it. He said, thanks. I love it. Everything's a joy. And it's like in your love making, it isn't about trying to get some pleasure when you're making love. It's about giving it.
Giving. I know. That's in the right side up world. I know. It's like a whole different awareness, right?
Because people don't realize how fortunate. To make a list of everything you've got to be grateful for. Right. But it isn't just stuff. I remember I had this beautiful aquamarine ring, like when, one of those big glunky rings had diamonds on it. So I gave it then to my sister to help her with her prosperity consciousness. And then she passed it on to another friend who need to work on her prosperity consciousness, you see. Mm-hmm. And you have to also sometimes look at what is the stuff you think you have to have. Sometimes it's good to give it away. Only because it's like if you're that attached to it, you're going to have to give it away when you leave your body anyway. It's not yours. You're sharing it. You're having it now. But my problem was I would give away too much because I liked the joy of giving, but it also would place me in a dominant position, you see, to be of course, because then you could create dependency, and you don't want to be smothering. You want to be mothering, nurturing, but not smothering, you see.
Right. It's
because yeah, like say if you have a mother that says, well, my poor Charles, he's never going to make it in the world. He said, wait a minute, he isn't going to make it because you don't even know who he is.
Right.
He can make it because he's already made it. What are you talking about? He already is.
Right. This journey is about untangling all these toxic or dysfunctional thoughts patterns that we all inherit from our family members and the world around us. But they
inherited from theirs before and before and before, so you can't even be mad at them. They're all programmed.
They're all programmed, and then someone in a family will wake up and start to, like you were saying in the very beginning, of finding their way to the realization of I'm the one who makes me happy. I'm the one who makes the choices and directs my life.
I can take care of myself.
Yes.
See, that's another one. Is what I can, and I realize how much money, millions, I have spent taking care of others who I thought would eventually take care of me instead of me taking care of me. You see what I mean?
Right. It's expensive to take care of everybody else on so many levels, isn't it?
And then the disappointment, because you gave them all your stuff and they won't give it back.
Right. And then some people can fall into resentment about those kinds of things. But the truth is, like when you start to turn your life right side up, and people have to go through this process, like step number 2 is an active process.
Yes.
All these steps are. You have to
start
engage.
Talking appreciation everywhere.
Yes.
It's like appreciate. Oh my God, just I'm breathing. When hurting that hand, I started to really realize I didn't really appreciate how all those muscles, because when I tripped, my fingertips and thumb took the weight of my whole fall on. Okay. So then I had no how all those are attached to muscles that go all the way around, and actually they come back into the same thing where I had the whiplash and had the pain in the neck, and it's actually I didn't even have sensation in that last arm for so long because I wasn't trusting my feminine. I strengthened my masculine to achieve in the world because I had to be my male, but I didn't allow, shall we say, the divine mother to be my mother. And and my poor little mother, oh my God, all of our little stories, and she was a premature baby, was in a incubator for 2 months, and when they sent her home, she was in a shoebox.
Oh my God.
She's an amazing person that she could even do what she did. I mean, she had, but anyway, So it's like we look to our parents to try and give us these things. We have to now go back and get the healing for ourselves. And part of it, you actually be honest with yourself and tell the truth about what your motives are. Not to make yourself wrong, not any of that, but this is the way of this world. But the way of this world is basically death. Because and we don't die. I know that for certain. I know how to do that. And we've done it over and over and over. One time when I had my retreat center over in West Washington, and one of my dear friends, Valen Dane, he was a lovely student, just a wonderful person. And it was interesting. He had been a gay man, and then he decided not to, and he got married and had 5 daughters. And it took on a whole different life because he said, I don't have to be any label. If I,
right.
I don't have
he
to be
chose,
any label.
Right. He just made living our lives in ways to feel aligned. People to be free, like the freedom he has to make that choice.
Yes, and we're looking for appreciation from others, so we hunger them. No, I don't look for appreciation from others. I look to how can I appreciate, because if you give me too much appreciation, I might believe it. Now, what I mean about that, use it to puff me up, rather than they need to appreciate, because we need to do that ourselves. Like at nighttime, when it's time to go to sleep, we just say to each other, thank you for the wonderful day. Thank you for being loving. Thank you for being kind. And when you listen how people, they swear at each other. They yell at each other. They put each other down. They yell at their children saying, nobody will ever like you. You're just, their words are cutting and hurt. You have to also learn what words do, transcend those, so you're not packing around all this stuff. There are all these words, these dialogues, these situations. This moment is a fresh moment. You're not going to deal with all that stuff. What you will, once you get it all, it's in a bag, basically. You can just toss it. But you have to, when you get triggered, it's not, you triggered me. You go, thank you for triggering me. Now I can find what there's in there that's in my thought form, in my mind, that is causing me to give you the power to hurt me when you can't. You cannot, unless I agree. And what happens is, when we tell our story over and over, we're looking for people to agree. And I still work with, she's just wonderful. She's a therapist, and she did the Spanish translation of What You Think of Me Is None of My Business. And
wonderful.
I know, she did. She's wonderful. She's a therapist. She actually used my book to teach her English when she came to the U.S., and then worked her way up as a therapist. And now she's created tri-therapeutic integration into wholeness, where she's combining shaman, because she's a Mayan shamanism, with her psychology and spirituality, all three together. You can't, you see, it's this, you got to use whatever you need, but when you're in the state of appreciation, you just feel good, because there's, for no reason at all, but it really is because that in itself creates increase. Isn't it? Did you get appreciation from your, what would you call it, your deposit in your savings account? It's called appreciation because it causes increase. People think on the other, if I like it and I have more, you won't do it. It's a common thing in business, not to tell your employees a good job they're doing because they'll want a raise. You don't want to have
withholding. Like, talk about an increase. In that sense, there's a withholding.
Of course.
Right?
There's a decrease because you're decreasing. Yes. And so rules are usually made to stop others. If you look at all the rules, all the law about stuff, that's to stop you from being who you are. It's to depower you. Why? Why? Have you ever looked why it's all aimed at you? Because you're it. Tag, you're it.
But how wonderful it is to wake up to these things and realize, like, I've been on some kind of hamster wheel that I'd like to get off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. And it's you.
You got to push the button and stop it. Where's the button?
Right.
You might have to jump off while it's going. Start running now where you are, and when you're ready, jump. I always get that. I use these one kind of oracle cards. They're the Ram oracle cards because it's around the story of the Ramayana. And it's basically all about stealing the woman. It's about how the demons want to take the feminine, the mother, because of her beauty and creativity. And it's all about going and hunting and taking her back from the demon. But it also shows that even though in the outer world it may appear that something is gone, you can never lose who you are. It can be covered. You can hide from it. It can be beaten out of you, and all of that. And we've all been subject to this and done horrible, horrible things in all of our lifetimes. Oh, I know. I wanted to share about the friend Valen, who then got married and had the children. So he was there at the house, and I looked at him, and all of a sudden I saw the veils of every single face that he has ever had in this realm. It went on, and they were human, animal, creature, male, female, all kinds of appearances, and they were like one veil that was shaped as a face after another, and it just went like a river and went out of sight, because we've been here for so long. There is no time. It's always now. And in this moment, when you learn how to master the now, and this is I suggest that people use the 8 steps. Do the work with it. And you could get the 8 steps off of Marie's website, I think they could get them. Or they could join Substack. However.
Yeah, the link at the bottom of the video that we'll have. They can get it through there too. Yeah.
Yeah, get it from you. Get it from Marie. And then work with it and gather some friends. Start to get, find out who are your buddies and your pals, and maybe, my book, What You Think of Me Is None of My Business, is a great book to really get going to you have to have boundaries. I was working with this young girl she's in her late 40s, I think now, but she was in my youth group in my church in San Diego. And so she had been in this situation with this male for many years, which had been very abusive, but he had mental problems, and she loved him and tried to take care of him. But you get to the point she can't, and he's getting violent, and he's getting all this. But in a sense of as she was talking, and she was a twin, and I said, I have a sense you're not a person. You're not. It's right. She says, I don't, and you don't have boundaries. She says, no. And she said, I can't have boundaries. I can't. And I'm going, oh, that's the belief, the thought system as a victim, basically, of anybody. And some of that that victimness comes of maybe being abused. Well, as a child, we know that, but it could have been an older brother or sister. I've talked to some people when my twin sisters, I had twin sisters. My mom wondered why Connie was crying all the time. She put them out on a blanket on the lawn and give them each a bottle, and they'd be drinking. Connie be crying, and she'd come out there and her bottle was empty. So what? She's crying. She got her foot. So she watched Bonnie, and they're babies, like 6 months old. Bonnie put her bottle behind her bed and took her sister's bottle, drank it up, and gave it back, and then she went to her bottle. So my mom kept thinking, well, what's she crying about? Her milk's gone. Yes, because her sister stole it. 6 months old.
And they figured it out. It's a good
Oh, my God. Figured it out. Yes, she had to watch. And you said, well, how could that happen? Well, because I remember right after I was born. I mean, this time. And I remember I have so many past. I mean, I can't even tell you. I wasn't wiped. I didn't wipe my memory. And I know I have the memory because I don't teach what I haven't realized and no experience personally. I don't.
Wow.
I could say these are good ideas, but how I know I have been given these, so I know things. And just like other people, certain things, everybody out there, and you have to stand in that. And then what you might think it's selfish because like family members and everything, they're going to, once you change to take ownership of yourself and you stop blaming, you're not a rescuer, you're not a perpetrator, you're not a victim. So you have to see where you play those games and what you think is getting for you and doing. And the problem is so many people don't want to look because they don't want to be criticized or they think they're going to be blamed and they're afraid of making a mistake. And so we try to create our little world of protection here and go by the rules. And one of my rules was always, especially when people in the world authorities tell you not to do something, I'm going to probably go find out and do it. Or I'll find out why, And if it looks good, I'm going to do it. Because why are you telling me I can't? And who are you to tell me I can't? Exactly. So you got to find out what are the rules of the game. And if you want, and you're here and you're playing it whether you want to or not, and they're building realities of horrible destruction from everybody. It's another reset. It's the last one because you only get 7 and they done before. Yeah, good for you. See, my sun sign is Ophiuchus. And maybe you've never heard of Ophiuchus.
No.
But that's between Scorpio and Sag. And that's the 13th sign. And everybody I've worked with pretty much is in that 13th sign because we're the ones who prepare people for the next go round.
Wow.
And we're not going round on this one. This is out of here. You're not even out of here. I'm not doing that anymore because I know. And when you in the now can be joyful in your own being, and wherever you go is holy ground, when you handle the now, you'll handle the future. That's just the way it is. Because there is no future. When it comes, it's now. Absolutely.
Now. And
it is now.
The gift of all that you just said, it's amazing how in the journey people can be all caught up in the drama and trauma and being stuck on that hamster wheel, or they can get into the now. And a gift of the now is this appreciation where you are you are 100, all your trillions of cells, you were about to say trillions of cells inside of where they are
50 trillion. Yeah, they're jumping. They're happy. Woohoo! Huh?
They're right, because they're all in alignment with where your point of focus and attention is. And when we can sync up with that, it's the most beautiful thing. And appreciation, like what we're talking about today, we in and out of all of our stories, is you have the ask, but the appreciation is something that actually just augments. I don't know, maybe
you're already rich. See, once you appreciate, you're already, wonder if you have something very light and meager for lunch, but isn't it great you have it? Enjoy it, love it, appreciate it. Appreciate the people in your life and let them, they need to appreciate you. But if they don't, you know, the key is you're working for God. I like that movie, The Blues Brothers. I'm on a mission of God.
Right?
But the goddess or the divine, but not the one they tell you. And see, I'm not sitting around waiting for somebody to save my butt in an airplane, UFO. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, stop it.
Because you're taking action. You're also in the present now. Like this is the creator in you and in all of us.
Yes, you did it all anyway. Yes.
Yeah, well, we're creating it. We're not waiting for somebody else to do it for us. But
no.
This is appreciation is a beautiful bridge because while some people might stumble in the ask or they might feel awkward in the asking, you get better as you do it. The same thing is true with appreciation. The more you do it, the easier it gets. More everything where you look around you, it's easy to appreciate the sun or the warmth of the sun or the rain if areas need rain or whatever it is.
And you take a look at little tiny flowers. They're all perfect. You look at I look at like little Lakshmi, my kitty girl, and because she was a rescue kitty and she didn't like you to pick her up or even do that kind of stuff, and she went, she's gonna have a hissy fit. I'm gonna get you. Yeah, sure, And so like by just cuddling her, now she wants it. Now I gotta have my hugs. I gotta have my cuddles. Because even though she didn't have it before, we had to keep doing it and doing it. Oh, now she's just milquetoast. I mean, she just loves it. Just give me some hugs, And it's the same with others, with tenderness. I have a friend, one of my students, Jan, she wrote a beautiful song, Tenderly. Just be tenderly with me. And what I suggested to her, too, and this is something, because you're a singer, too, and so am I, and you had said something about your song you wrote.
Yeah.
And the little thing was, make treatments that are mantras, that are affirmations, and sing them.
And you say treatments. Explain that a little bit, treatments.
treatment. Treatment. That's affirmative prayer. Let's call it that way. Treatment was you're treating the situation, and you're basically talking yourself out of being sick or miserable or poor, and talking yourself into knowing that God is your source and supply, that there is an abundance everywhere. All that you need is within you, but you also have to go give it. You have to do something, and in a sense, because that's our nature. We're always doing something, but it's like you do it from, you're not going somewhere to get happiness. You are happiness going somewhere to happen. That's who you are. Your brilliance, your love going somewhere to happen. And when you let that happen for you in every moment, I mean, you're having a good time. And you're changing lives, and out there appreciating even the salespeople at the market or anywhere. Just something. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Everybody's terrified of criticism. Everybody's terrified they're going to lose their job or they're going to lose this, and they're living in fear and they're competing. No, that's not you. Step outside that. Claim your good. You see, but you start appreciating it. Yes, appreciate. Yeah. Instead of finding
that's like
fault,
letting it in. Yeah.
But you have to look at, if you're a victim, it's because you're getting something out of it. If you're a perpetrator and abusing people, you're getting something out of it. And if you're trying to save everybody, you're getting something out of it. But our basic nature is kindness, loving, and endeavoring for the welfare of all, because we have nothing to lose. We have it all. Absolutely.
Right. And really feeling, I think people are we've done such a good distracting ourselves from our real feelings that we get caught up in the past of the pain of the conditioning of our feelings. But the truth is, if you can, and this is important, and I'm sure you talk about it in your books, but this is that like therapy for 20 or 30 years. We don't have to uncreate all that we previously created.
No.
We just have to appreciate ourselves into good feelings.
That's right.
In the next breath, in the next moment.
That's right now. That's right.
I mean, our world is going through these upheavals and these challenges in our time because we've been living so outside the laws of the oneness that we're part of. That when we come back to the feeling state, the senses, like and feeling appreciation and feeling, like you said, feeling that chipmunk, or feeling even little beings.
He was thrilled, and he was thrilled to get this. I'm not putting it down, but I think I'm glad, because it's in his apartment. He's got my hair.
He totally had a store. That was a major store.
He had an internet store. Yeah. Called his squirrel. This is my squirrel store. And you have to be goofy, people. You have to be a little goofy. Because
you do. Well, I have a lot of animals around me all the time, and as much as I know anybody that's an animal person that's listening to this, they can exasperate us sometimes, like when you want to sleep and they're doing things and keeping you up. But in the same vein, some of the things that my animals do are so silly and so it's just to shake things up so I don't take life so seriously. Right?
And they're so cute. Don't we all love cat and dog videos? Oh my! Remember the video of the cat wearing on that vacuum, the Rhomba or whatever, wearing a shark outfit, riding on the Rhomba with a cat. Or this little puppy, he's looking out the window, he's got his arm around the cat. Why is it? Because it's so sweet.
And it's pure.
Yeah,
you don't
pure.
The pureness of that moment. That feeling of like the little puppy with the paw around the cat. It's like we all know what that feels like, but like you said, the pain of our childhood or the pain of our pattern, and we think we have to unwind the hands of time by going deep into the tunnels of all those experiences. We don't. We can literally just begin, like you're saying, start with the ask and start with the appreciation and feeling good, loving the things we already have in our lives. It's amazing how it increases the other good things in your life.
Yes,
right? And the reverse is true, which we know and we've been talking about. If you focus on the not good things and the unpleasant things, then you're increasing that experience as well.
You need to be aware. And one of the things why I'm not a real oneness person, because oneness eliminates variety, because we're all the same. So we're the same and different is why I like it, because it acknowledges my individuality, that I don't have to go along with the majority rule.
Mm-hmm.
I don't play majority rules.
Is there a better word for one that you use more that encapsulates that? Or
or unity. I like unity.
Unity.
Because I'm not part of the blob. You know what I mean? It's like the Borg. You know, resistance is futile. You know, I was old Trekkie. You know, I'm old Trekkie.
Got it.
Yeah. I grok things. Yeah, I like to grok things, you know, because I was into science fiction and all that kind of stuff, but it is fiction in a way. It truly is. But our story, we all have stories, but the most beautiful is it's time for a new story, to a really good story. Make it up. Really good. Yes. And if you have a nasty God, maybe you should open up your heart and realize that the divine is the sweetest of the sweet, and is the most precious of the precious, and it is pure love. And love is all there is. And every single thing we do was because of love, because we didn't get it, we wanted more, But what is it? It's that feeling of the love. And once we really get where it's coming from and we flow that love, we feel it when we give it, but you don't feel it when you're trying to get it. Doesn't work that way.
Right. Yeah. You do. There is this. It's a dance, isn't it? Of learning how, like, soul. I don't know. It's an. There's an ebb and a flow to it. There's beautiful harmony that happens with yourself. Nobody else has to be in this relationship or conversation with you, but you.
Well, there already is. It's your soul. Well, your soul. We have super soul. Is within every person. That's another name for God within. It's called also super soul. In the Vedic teaching, it's called Paramatma. It is a sense that there is the God spark within every animal or human, real human. But there's two species here at least. One has the round head we do, and the other has the elongated skull.
Right.
And one has compassion and the other doesn't.
Right. And we get to choose what we're going to align with inside ourselves.
That's right. Exactly.
Like the God particle.
Every moment you're choosing. Absolutely. Right. And build that relationship yourself. Start testing it and finding how it works and how it is. And you'll find, I mean, it's wonderful. I remember when I was in, this was in India, probably 10, 12 years ago. Maybe longer than that, maybe 20. I forgot. Anyway, I had all this burning in my arms, just terrible. And it was, oh my God, it was arthritis, that bad one. Wow. And I went, what do I do, God? And the voice then says, go to the computer, look up cause and natural cure for rheumatoid arthritis. And I did, and I searched it. I found what it was. I eliminated the problem, and I eliminated it. I never had it again after I did what I did. And then I remember I was riding on this bus from the airport in San Francisco to the hotel, and there was this doctor there, and we were talking about things. He said, oh, yes, I work with arthritis. And I said, oh, good. Oh, I cured mine. Really? What medicine did you use? I said, none. I did it myself. And she wouldn't talk to me. Took her back.
Right.
Because, that's bad for business, baby.
It threatens the narratives for sure. And right. But these kinds of miracles are like live inside us, and it's a matter
every
of
moment,
going on the quest and making the choice to feel good, to feel more of our divine self.
Yes.
Well, I was just going to say, when you were in the experience of the pain, you got to look at that and say, well, do I want to feel this more of it? Do I want to increase this experience?
Yes.
Do I want to clear it out? And you did.
Yes, you have to. Because who's going to do it for you? You're an eternal being. You cannot die, darling. You might think you do, but it's because you think you do, but you're not. And so if you don't know, and when you're in body, now is the time to really get your teachers and do the work and get there. And in your life, regardless, remember somewhere it says in the Bible, whatever, 5,000 can fall on this side, 10,000. What's that to you? Keep walking. Because you got to keep your eyes single. You got to know who you are and where you're going and be strong in this. And that it because yes, this is what we've all waited for. This is the big test, folks.
Right, it is the big test, and it's getting back to you. And when you get back to you, you win.
Yes, right? Yes.
When
absolutely.
You get back to who you are. Yeah.
You know how you win the game? Don't play.
Right.
This game, where it called just the basic, and it's something you mentioned. Yeah. So appreciating, and once we start doing that, look at the good in your family. When you start to really look at it, you see it was perfect for you, given your character and your nature and what you're up to. Absolutely, right. Absolutely, right. And you can take care of yourself with God because you're a God particle. Come on, use it.
Right. And this is one of your affirmations that you have. You say in this step number 2, you have this beautiful affirmation: right where I am is the perfect place for me to realize God, source, creator, basically, and flourish.
That's right.
And that's
right where you are.
Right where you are, no matter what your experience. I have been through this. You've been through this. I've been in times in my life where I was absolutely, utterly miserable.
Yes,
and in
me
too. Right? Right. And
oh my God.
Misery of learning. I learned the art of appreciation because of that. And without that misery teaching me how I could create something totally different, something much better out of where I was feeling. And if you'd have told me that earlier in my journey, I wouldn't have believed you, right?
No,
you have to
no,
it.
Mm-hmm. You have to do the study. And there is knowledge there, say. You have to do the study. Yeah, and there's knowledge. Yes, absolutely.
And like what you say, though, you talk about making a list of the people or the good things that are in your life that you already have. You know what? I literally had to do that. I had a list. I could only handle like a list of 5 things. But when energy at the time, because when energy was swirling around me, I couldn't handle 10 or 20 things. I just needed to go to my little short list. And I could picture, usually it was something from nature that would fill me with these inner feelings of goodness, even though what I was experiencing was the opposite or was like, very unpleasant. And it was that learning, that process of like, I'm experiencing something unpleasant. This is not dissociation. This is actually conscious choosing to say, well, I feel in my outer experience that I'm seeing and feeling this. I'm going to choose my inner experience, and I'd focus on a flower or something small and easy. Nature's really nice because I don't have ego, like preconceived ego judgments about a flower, right? It's just by itself. It's like its own divinity is beautiful. And that helped me. So I wasn't arguing with myself over whether this flower was divine. It just was divine.
Of course it is.
And I just put my consciousness on it, even though my life was swirling around me at that moment. It became a skill that you can go to when there's unpleasantness again and again showing up in stress and triggers and weariness.
It's because we're attached to people doing what we want them to do. Because we learned this. That's as a kid. Well, if I get my way, I got to do this, this, and this. We're very complex because you're a God particle. So when people capture a God, how do they take over this world is one God particle after another. The evil ones take over. And what does evil mean? They're perversions. It's like witchcraft. It's switchcraft. You pervert everything. So they say, well, isn't all God? Well, the tree's not God. It's God, divine energy makes that, but that's not me. I'm not the tree. That's pantheism, which is fine, but that's not my focus because I'm a pleasure seeker. So my God and my source is the sweetest of the sweet and is absolute supreme pleasure for my soul because I'm a pleasure seeker. So is everybody, but they haven't noticed. So they're trying to get it from stuff.
there was something you said back just a second ago that it's like the Satan's world or the serpent's world, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever name. Yes.
Right, is rooted in that complexity. But this is why, like, everything that we're talking about, and probably all
simple.
It's simple. God is simple, and in the contrast,
easy.
It's complicated. And that's how people get tangled, and they wonder why they're standing in like quicksand, and they don't know how to get out of the life they're living. But it's the simple things, just to breathe, maybe even just to appreciate
breathing is will help you. Pranayama in the Vedic teachings, there's many different breath techniques that do different things. And everybody right now, I was working with this person who was this victim, and because she couldn't breathe, I said, okay, just breathe, slow down, all is well, just get yourself breathing. And you could stay there and breathe for a while, you don't have to answer right now, you don't have to do the thing right now, you just wait and let it. I always, if there's anything, I turn it over to my God, my source, my Lord within, my protector, however you want to call that, to let me know when it gets worked out. And even a phone call, I don't return a phone call immediately unless it feels right for me to do that. We have to learn to stop trusting the mind and trust ourselves. We have wisdom. We are divine wisdom. We are part of who is everywhere present, all-knowing, all-powerful, all-loving, and the sweetest of the sweet. That's my choice, and that's how I live, you see.
Right. Sweetness is a choice. Appreciation is a choice.
Yes,
right?
it is. Yes, it is.
All these things are choices.
That's it.
And a lot of people are just unpracticed because we've been so distracted from what the real work is.
Well, yes, because they think it's entertainment. It's not about going to listen to some singer at a concert or a Super Bowl. What do you need that? Sing in your house. Right. Sing, make up your songs. And when they tell you and go, oh, you have a bad voice, I can teach anybody how to sing. I'm an opera singer. I learned from the greatest teacher ever, the maestro. Oh, my God. Because I wanted to experience the fullness of my voice. And I was going to be an opera singer in my next life because the only thing I hadn't done in all my lifetimes, I thought was the only thing that looks interesting anymore. And then I realized I can't sing those miserable songs on the stage. Are you kidding? What?
So why wait for the next life? You brought it in.
Exactly, because there's only one life, and it's you, all the time. I know. Do it now. Do it now.
Right. Do it now. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, do it now.
Well,
that's the name of that hardware store. Do it now. I thought it was a pretty good name. Do it now.
We're doing it. And this is it.
And wait till everybody get ready for step 3. But I'm not going to tell. We're not going to tell you what it is until next month.
Okay.
And let us know. Yeah, let Marie know what are you doing with the steps, and then maybe get some little groups going, and everybody start helping each other by getting yourselves as a strong, support group. Come on.
Right. What are people doing with the ask? How are they experiencing the ask and the appreciation? Oh, how is that going for people? Right. Now, we're going to close this out soon, but let me just ask you, and it's kind of a big question. Maybe we'll cover it as we talk about more of the other steps, and they spiral upwards because they all build on the next one. But when people feel blocked, if they feel blocked on the ask or they feel blocked on the appreciation, what's something that what would you say to that if people feel that they can't find a good feeling thought, or what do you say when people?
I say stay tuned for step 3.
That's perfect. Then
there you go. There you go. That was it. I don't have to say anymore. That was it. Thank you, Marie. You're the best. I really love you and appreciate you and your generosity and your kindness and your work you've done on yourself. It's a joy for me to find someone like you, and I just would like a whole bunch of you. If you've got any more views out there, contact me because it makes me happy.
Well,
I got friends then.
Right, exactly. Well, and people hanging out with us in this call, I think they're here for a reason too. They're looking for the same thing. We all wanna...
no accidents. No accidents. It's all perfect, and we're here for you. So you got to call Marie or call me. You got to ask. You got to be willing. You got to play the game. You got to work with. Hey, all is possible. I know. I attained everything I had ever wanted.
and more.
And still, yeah. And right? I'm happy camper. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's so good. Well, thank you for being on with me today. Thank you to our audience for listening to the end.
Yes. They're great people out there. You're our people out there. Uh-huh.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. All right.
Okay. See you next
big
month.
hugs.
All right. Hugs to you. Bye.
Thanks, Marie. Bye.